Before we begin today's episode of Potterless, just a few quick announcements. First, about a month ago, I guest hosted an episode of Spirits Podcast with Eric Silver, who is today's guest star, and Eric Schneider, the producer and editor of Spirits. The entire episode was about NBA conspiracy theories, which are basically myths. So if you've ever wanted to hear me talk about basketball at full length rather than just ranting that basketball is better than Quidditch and they should have played that at Hogwarts instead, you can go check out that episode of Spirits Podcast. Second, thanks to everyone who came out and said hello to me at PodCon. You guys are all amazing, and I loved having conversations about podcasts or Harry Potter or just life in general, so thank you. Another exciting announcement, we're on Spotify now, which is great, which also means I will probably slowly migrate us off of SoundCloud, because why would you use SoundCloud instead of Spotify? So you can check us out there, just search for Potterless. And finally, it's the holiday season. You might be seeing lots of friends and family, so if there is someone in your life that is a Harry Potter nut, or you think would just really like Potterless, why don't you take a few moments just to tell them about it? Word of mouth is easily the best way to spread news of a podcast, because there's so many podcasts out there. So when someone takes the time to come up to you and say, hey, there's this podcast that I think you specifically would like, it is so effective. I've heard more and more people say that they started listening to Potterless because a friend told them explicitly, hey, there's this podcast you would really like, and then they did. So if you guys could just take a few minutes out of your holiday season to tell someone that you think would like the podcast about the podcast, that would be great, and it would be the best Christmas gift that you could give me. Speaking of Christmas gifts, we have new Patreon members to welcome to the team. So shout out to Tom Reevy, Mads Feisander, Tanya, Ellen Hilbig, and Sophie, and huge shout out to our new producer level patrons, Rebecca Adamek and Maria Arroyo. They joined the ranks of Leanne Davis. Leanne, I'm so sorry for forgetting you on a couple episodes. Andreas, Vicky, Aaron, Erica, Calvin, Michael, Sadie, Emily, Chandra, Jesse, Maggie, Natalie, Deborah, Daisy, Clow, Michael, Sean, and Alexander, who never get coal in their stockings. If you want to be like one of these awesome people and get great bonus content, just head on over to patreon.com/Potterless. But without further ado, let's get into episode 31 of Potterless, starring Eric Silver of Join the Party podcast, covering chapters 23 through 24 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Potterless, the tale of a 25-year-old man reading a series of children's novels for the first time. I am honored and #blessed to be joined today by Eric Silver, a wonderful human that you probably know from Join the Party or our joint NBA episode on Spirits Podcast. Eric, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm still basking in the glow. Oh, I'm sure all of the Spirits listeners just loved our episode so much.
It's probably so good.
So much positive feedback that we got from their sports heavy, just loving two random guys and Eric Schneider talking about sports. I'm also recording this before the episode comes out, so I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing this is going to be a smash hit. It is going to just double.
In real time, the episode comes out in 2 days, but in posting time, this will probably be like a month or 6 weeks after.
I'm so ready.
So it's going to be very interesting.
I'm so ready to get contacted after this and just feel like you were cold takes. The coldest take that this episode was good. No,
but that is for another place and time. Here, we are discussing Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, chapters 23 through 27, which are some spicy chapters in an otherwise not so spicy book.
I gotta say, I am strongly, like, this is at the bottom of my Harry Potter hierarchy, but you gave me the most buck wild chapters, and I'm so ready. I have such strong feelings, and you also gave me like all of the winter holidays, so it's like I have so much tied up in this, and I'm ready to project myself onto these teenagers who know absolutely nothing about anything.
Oh, nothing
and
at all.
Yet, oh my god, they don't. I forgot how little Harry was like a real person for so long.
Yeah,
he was just like a ball of angst.
He's the least real. Yeah, he's basically angst shaped into the rough form of a human. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first chapter, 23, Christmas on the Closed Ward. So they're back at the Order of the Phoenix headquarters at Grimmauld Place. Harry has this realization that he's the weapon that Voldemort and all the Death Eaters keep talking about. He's like, I'm the weapon. This is why the Order has guards all around me. I'm the one that must have attacked Mr. Weasley. So he decides that he's just going to like run away. because that's the best plan, is just get out of danger by going back to Privet Drive, because that makes sense.
Didn't we all do that thing when we were teenagers? We were like, no, I'm just gonna run away and I'm gonna stay at my worst friend's house, whose parents wouldn't care if I just like stayed in a guest room for like 2 weeks. I don't need to be around like actual good relationships. This is fine. I'm gonna go do something destructive because I'm the weapon. The first thing in my notes,
very healthy.
I wrote "I'm the weapon" in really large print. I wrote "I'm the weapon" with 2 exclamation points.
Good. That's very good. That's very good. So he takes his entire trunk and puts it in the hole. And like he gets it halfway to the door. And then the portrait of Phineas Nigellus starts talking smack, and he easily becomes one of my favorite characters in the entire book in like 4 sentences. So he first says, running away? And then he basically goes on this ramble that Harry shouldn't be in Gryffindor if he's going to be such a coward. He sasses him he's like, oh, you're so noble doing this decision on your own. And he then delivers a message given to him from Dumbledore that explicitly says, Harry, stay where you are. Of course, Harry is mad that Dumbledore doesn't want to talk to him directly, starts to go on a rant, and Phineas says, young people thinking they're always right is why I hated being a teacher. And
my God, millennials these days only wanting about need more than just the tweet you get from the magical painting.
So, yeah. So then he goes on and basically brings up a very good point that maybe Dumbledore has a good reason for this. He's never led Harry to any harm ever. He's probably doing this on purpose. So Phineas then leaves the picture frame saying that he has better things to do, which he lives in a painting. He doesn't do anything.
Same. Me too. It's like I got better stuff to do. And then I just sit down on my couch and then we're done having a conversation.
It's exactly what happens.
This interaction is like the pinnacle of this book, especially the first half of it. It's just adults talking around the most important person in like their entire society and not giving him full information. I'm not saying that Harry is actually like a real person or can process feelings. Yeah, or like can process feelings or like can string 2 sentences together without Hermione's help. But like he needs some context. Like you got to tell him some information to keep himself straight.
Yeah.
I was a high school teacher for a hot second.
Okay.
And I had high school students for English class. And I was exactly the same way. But it's like you need to give teenagers some modicum of context so that they can at least wrestle with the fact that it's like, this is the reason why. And you can think the reason why is stupid, but you now see like, I am the person. You need to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry you can't open this window and the AC is not working, but it's because like this room is trash. And also like people can't open the window. Like that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like
super true.
But also, like, Harry's also super stupid, so I kind of understand.
Also super true. So Harry then sassily tells him off after he's already left the painting, which is the classic, like, yeah, keep walking move. So Harry then just stays in his room, doesn't want to leave, and Hermione arrives the next day demanding to talk to Harry. It turns out that Hermione doesn't like skiing, which was the vacation that she was on over Christmas break with her parents. But she tells Harry, don't tell Ron this because she already told Ron how great it was to try to get him to stop laughing about it because he kept making fun of the concept of skiing, which I think is phenomenal.
I don't have any good thing to say that. Like, that's just like, all right, Ron, fine.
Yeah, I mean, fine.
Yeah. We're accepting this in this magical work of YA, I guess.
So basically, Hermione had told her parents that she needed to leave to study earlier for her upcoming exams, which is why she had to leave the skiing trip. It was all just bullshit because she didn't like it.
That's the best excuse, though, to give your parents, is one that's like absolutely plausible for you, like your peak caricature of you as a teenager.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like if I had to tell my mom, it's like, nah, man, I gotta go to like theater rehearsal for like 2 days straight. She's like, all right, here's 3 sandwiches. I'll see you later.
So Hermione, Ron, and Ginny all try to talk to Harry about what's going on. But Harry gets mad that Ginny and Ron told Hermione that he's been avoiding everyone. But Ginny then turns around and gets really upset at Harry, saying that he didn't want to talk to anyone, which is like good for Ginny. She also brings up the fact that she has been possessed by Voldemort before and knows what it feels like. So she's upset that Harry is actively trying to shut himself off once he realizes or thinks that he might be being possessed, when he has a resource that he could easily go to talk about. So I'm very proud of Ginny for standing up for herself. Basically, the other theme of these 5 chapters is that my Ginny stock rises exponentially and my Cho Chang stock plummets into as far below 0 as possible.
Oh, absolutely. This is also like what everyone's talking about. Book Ginny, much better than movie Ginny.
Oh, God, yes. God,
like,
yes.
This is pinnacle. Is like, look at you having like emotional intelligence, everything.
Mm-hmm.
This also, like, I'm all, Cho Chang drops Ginny coming up. But as we're going to see, the other theme of this is that teenage boys are so stupid and teenage girls know how feelings
so
work.
smart.
And you can have conversations. Yes. Like, teenage girls are the smartest people in the entire world, and teenage boys do not deserve to interact with them in school grounds. Like, I'm sorry. I need a permission slip to, like, be around teenage girls. Jesus.
So Harry is dumbfounded by this. He says, "I forgot," and then she replies, "Lucky you," which, woof.
Got him. I love it.
Ginny then tries to help him out, asks if he has any big blanks of memory that he doesn't recall. He says no, and she says, "Then you're not possessed, because when I was possessed, there were just these big spans of me not remembering things." Harry brings up the dream, this corridor hallway dream that he keeps having all the time. And Hermione brings up 2 key points. First is that Harry has had these dreams before. And 2,
so stupid. Oh my God, this whole chapter, I'm just like, Harry, please.
He's very dumb.
Please read one book ever, please.
And the second point she brings up is that no one can make you apparate or disapparate from Hogwarts. And then she has a great quote, "One day you'll read Hogwarts a history. Here's my prediction. He won't ever."
This was what I meant. Sorry, can you just like take that comment from the beginning and then just move it down? It's like, Harry, read one book ever. Just one. Just one book. Pick one.
Oh, man. So Harry then feels better about it, and it's Christmas time, so they're opening presents. Ron gets a homework planner from Hermione, and he's super bitter about it. Harry gets some Defense Against the Dark Arts books from Lupin and Sirius. Hermione has a quilt to give to Kreacher as a gift, but then they're trying to find him. They realize they haven't seen him in a while. They go into his room, and inside there's this giant picture of Bellatrix when they go to drop off the package. So that's a little interesting that Kreacher really likes her. And I'm wondering, because we'll get into this very soon, that he's like super happy and satisfied. I'm wondering if Kreacher played a factor in helping Bellatrix and all her friends escape. Yeah. That's a prediction that I got when I put 2 and 2 together after the fact.
Yeah. Looking back at elves, I'm just like, man, these guys... Like, I can't hold anything against them. Like, I know Kreacher's weird, and, like, Dobby's super weird and clingy, and, like, all of them. But it's just, like, they're so put down that it's like, yeah, I guess, but, like, he couldn't refuse it. He doesn't have that free will.
Yeah, it sucks. It's the free will thing with them makes things very complicated and tricky, and it makes me feel bad about hating them, but I think they are objectively annoying characters.
Fair. And I think, yeah, absolutely. All right. So, I need to point to something. Schubes.
Do it.
I got some feelings.
Okay.
All right.
Give me the feelings.
I'm not the weapon after all, thought Harry. His heart swelled with happiness and relief, and he felt like joining in as they heard Sirius tramping past their door towards Buckbeak's room, singing "God Rest You, Merry Hippogriffs" at the top of his voice. Schubes, why do wizards have magic-infused Christmas carols when they think everything about the Muggle world is stupid? But nah, they're like, oh, Christmas, this holiday put together by Jesus, who was the Son of God, obviously. No, let's take this tradition of caroling and make it specific for the magic world. Christmas makes no sense.
It doesn't even make sense except for that it matches syllables, because the original song is "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." So now it's saying "God Rest Ye Merry Hippogriffs," which are the animals that just fly around and attack people if you don't bow to them properly.
Yeah, because everyone knows that hippogriffs like really are all Episcopalians, and that's just where they sit. I have so many feelings about Wizard Christmas. Starting from, this is like when I first saw that first Harry Potter movie. All right, Schubes, I don't believe in Jesus.
Okay.
I'm a Jewish man, which you might have.
Okay. So you think Jesus is just a cool dude,
He's
but
just
not
he
the
was just a
coolest
cool
dude?
guy. Yeah, he was a
He's
cool
not
guy.
the guy.
And it's like, okay, there was a whole thing a little while ago. I don't know if you were even like plugged in enough for this, but there was a whole thing about how J.K. Rowling like addressed the fact that there are ostensibly Jewish students at Hogwarts. But it's like in my head when I was, especially in the movies, when like they deck it the fuck out for Christmas in the Great Hall.
Yes.
It's like, no, there's not. There is not even like a menorah like in the corner like in every elementary school.
No, there
where
wasn't.
it's like there's all this decoration and then just like a felt menorah where you could put out like the little candles. Like there's not even that. Like if this is like a Christian private school that you are basing this off of in the UK, like fine, just kind of admit it because everyone knows about Christian private schools. Like fine, but don't try to bring Jesus and just like say like, nah, this is how it is in this my magical private school. Like don't. JK, like I'm sorry.
The thing that confused me the most is that they celebrate Wizard Christmas and Wizard Easter, but never comment about religion or Jesus or anything. I don't know. Why don't they just call it something else? Or I get it, and I'm sure J.K. Rowling like didn't think to mention anything of it, but it is interesting because I just want to know like what their stance is on it, one way or the other. I'm just interested. And then also with the Christmas carols, why are they half wizard? Why are they not full wizard? Why didn't she make up a new carol? She's made up many songs before. Why does she have to half plagiarize?
She has a cool indie all-female band. She can't just like come up with the name of a Christmas carol and not deliver. Okay, I understand that this is written for a Western audience. And Western countries like Christianity and the big Christian holidays are like also kind of taken on because capitalism and Anglicanism and blah, blah, blah. But like have already justified the fact that everyone in the wizarding world thinks that the Muggle world is stupid and it's silly and bananas. And in fact, like later in these chapters, which is really funny, why you gave them to me, it's like the relationship of the magic world and the Muggle world really come together when the people broke out from
Azkaban.
Right, when the people broke out at Azkaban, it's like you have to warn the prime minister. So it's like the minister of magic has to warn the prime minister. So it's like enough. Like what you're gonna after you have this conversation, you're like, Merry Christmas, Deuce is gonna go get out my broom. Like, all right, Fudge. Fudge just wants to put the Christ back in Christmas too. Is there a war on Christmas in the wizarding world? Like, come on.
Maybe that's the big war that they keep talking about.
Exactly. It's the war. He who must not be named. It's Santa. You can't say his name before December. Like, fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a little problematic.
And that's my rant about Wizard Christmas. There you go.
Good. I'm glad we had this.
It was just this one thing is like I know that like tinsel looks really good in like 2007 when they first started making like CGI was like a thing. But come on, like Christmas carols, like come on. I'm gonna have to listen to it starting like right after Thanksgiving. And now you're throwing it in my face, JK. You're killing me.
What's also great, I'm realizing that this episode is going to release like on the week during Christmas. I'm pretty sure. Which is so good. I love that this had to be delayed longer than we thought because it's just going to be perfect timing.
It's amazing. I'm ready for 8 days of Lumos and just get at me. Like, it's fine. Listen, it's not that hard. You can just come up with things and add things from the Harry Potter universe. Like, like just do it for everybody. Like, it's not.
It's not hard.
No.
It's okay. It's okay. You did mention, are the Weird Sisters an all-female band? Because in the movie, they're dudes.
Why would the Weird Sisters ever be dudes? Like, that doesn't even
I don't know.
sense to me.
Well, they could just be named after the Weird Sisters. Like Mumford and Sons, it's not some dude named Mumford and all of his kids.
Yeah, but they're all, like, vaguely related, though.
I thought they were just friends from college.
No.
Or no, that's Vampire Weekend.
Yeah, but they're not all vampires.
Same thing.
They're not all
That's true. And they do shows on weekdays.
In my head, the Weird Sisters were like Bikini Kill or like
in
any of the 90s.
In my brain, yeah, they were like Heart.
The Weird Sisters are 8 men? That's stupid. No,
that's super dumb.
That's so dumb. The Weird Sisters.
It should be 2 girls.
Yes, exactly. They're a riot girl punk band.
Or 3 if they really want to be like what their name is, which is from Macbeth.
Well, that would make sense. They're an all-female trio.
Yeah, they should be Wizard Haim. They should be Wizard Haim or Heim or however you say it.
I always thought they were more like punk though, like definitely like grungy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Because if they're playing in Didn't they like play in the Shrieking Shack or something? Or did I make that up?
They played at the Yule Ball.
Okay, so that's even funnier. It's like they have no one to fill. They have no one to fill in at the Yule Ball. They're looking for somebody, and you just accidentally pick this like riot girl group to like play your school dance. Like imagine, like these girls are rocking at Hogsmeade.
Amanda, who is in the room with you, Amanda of Spirits, just texted me the known band members of the Weird Sisters. Heathcote Barbary is the rhythm guitarist. Gideon Crumb plays the bagpipes. Curly Duke plays lead guitar. Merton Grave plays cello. This band sounds horrible. Orsino Thurston plays the drums. Donegan Tremlett plays bass. Mirren Wagtail is the lead singer. And Herman Wintringham plays the lute.
Oh my God. I just still can't get over now. But like now that even makes more sense that 8 dudes were like, hey, what should our band name be? Oh, monsters coded as women. Let's go with that. Jesus.
Oh, man. Well, now that we've talked about things not related to this chapter for 10 minutes, let's continue.
Let's move on.
So Sirius asks if anyone has seen Creature lately, and they say that the last time that they saw him was when everyone returned from Hogwarts for the holidays, which is interesting. The squad and the other Weasleys all pack into the car, and it's basically charmed to work like a clown car where they can all fit in. So they go to visit Arthur at the hospital. And when they get to Arthur's room at St. Mungo's, he's being super suspect. He asks if they've seen Hela Smethig. I'm not sure if that's the actual pronunciation of it. I audiobooked this because I was on a plane, so I don't know how it's actually spelt. But he asks if they've seen Hela Smethig.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. I tried Googling it and I couldn't find it. And I don't have a physical copy of the book of 5. I've been audiobooking it primarily and using my library's copy and having to give it back. But basically, he asks if they've seen someone that they've never heard of. And Mrs. Weasley says no and asks why. And he goes, oh, nothing, which definitely means not nothing. It means something. So she inspects his bandages, notices that they're different. Arthur explains that someone named Pye at the hospital gave him stitches, and Mrs. Weasley freaks the fuck out because it's a muggle remedy. And you've mentioned this, that wizards just inherently think that all of the muggle world is stupid.
All
even
muggle technology.
Doctored practices that make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he got really messed up. Like, there was a massive gash in there. I understand that you still need a repair, but if we're talking that, like, even magical remedies need time to heal, like, putting the skin next to each other is not a bad idea.
No, not at all.
What are they using? It's like, they're not going to use, like, twine to, like, sew your stuff together. It's still a hospital, Mrs. Weasley.
So people leave the room one by one to go get tea, aka avoid the awkward yelling match that's about to go down.
This book, I always forget how British this series is. I always forget.
So before they're out of earshot of the door, they hear Molly say, "It sounds like you're trying to sew your skin back together." And then they get a little bit farther down, and then they hear her yell, "What do you mean that's the general idea?" Which, is so good. It's so good. I laughed quite a bit when I read that.
It's okay. I mean, stitches are inherently weird when you think about it. It's like, yeah, my body needs to touch each other to like get better. I'm gonna put a needle through me to do it. Like, I guess you're seeing it through a babe's eyes, from the mouths of babes. Molly Weasley.
So down the hall, the squad sees this guy with wavy blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and dazzling white teeth. Turns out it's Gilderoy Lockhart.
God damn it.
I was not expecting him to come back at any point in the series at all, so I'm very shocked to see him. He basically just comes out asking if they want his autograph. They decline. They have to remind him that he was a teacher at Hogwarts, but then he quickly goes along with the lie so that he doesn't sound stupid. He's like, "Oh yeah, of course I was a teacher. I was probably your favorite professor, wasn't I?" And so then his nurse walks by him in the hallway. She informs the squad that he's in their long-term ward, aka not a lot of hope for him, but he's making strides. Then they overhear a different nurse talking to Grandma Longbottom and Neville.
Oh, no.
And
it's
sad because The other two, Ron and Hermione, don't know about this. Harry does. So Harry gets this big, his heart just sinks and he's like, oh no, this is not going to be good. So they realize that the people that are in the beds across from Neville and his grandma, who they didn't recognize at first, are Neville's parents. So this is a really touchy situation that they've walked in on. So Harry tries to get Ron and Hermione not to see Neville, but Ron screams, hey, look, it's Neville. And you can't blame Ron. It's just unfortunate that he did, and he screamed it.
I guess. I mean, if you see your friend in like the mental rehabilitation wing of the major hospital in your entire country, like, they're not there for fun.
Yeah, super valid.
Yes. Again, like, let's go back to teenage boys are the dumbest people in the entire world.
I mean, yes.
But,
very much a true statement.
Truest story. I don't know, man. It just hurts.
Yeah.
And then then she lingers on it. The thing is that we already know this from Harry's perspective, and like for some reason we have to linger in St. Mungo's for another like 5 pages. Like
there's a lot of lingering in St. Mungo's in this book.
God damn.
So Neville is very embarrassed. Grandma says hello to the squad, and she knows who everyone is because Neville's talked about them. Grandma is shocked that Neville hasn't told anyone, saying that he should be proud of what his parents did, not ashamed. He should be proud that they stood up against Voldemort and the Death Eaters. And yes, they are not in a good state, but at least they were brave enough to do so.
Yeah.
She explains to Ron and Hermione that they were well-respected Aurors who were tortured into insanity by Voldemort's followers, so now the whole squad is on the same page. Neville's mom comes over and gives him an empty gum wrapper, and Grandma does this very overly happy, oh, very nice, dear, that just heartbreaking. Neville sadly mumbles, thanks, Mom, and Grandma says, hey, Neville, go throw it out. Harry notices, though, that Neville slips it into his pocket, so clearly Neville keeps these as little gifts, and my heart is just wrenched.
Get out of here, Joe.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I'm here for the Triwizard Tournament, and you're making me deal with the politics of wizardry and just heartbreaking teenage trauma. Just go back. Can there be another Triwizard Tournament, please?
The Triwizard Tournament was trash. It was so dumb.
Oh, no. Okay, it's a good thing you didn't have me on during Goblet of Fire. All right.
I honestly think that the Triwizard parts were the worst parts. Everything else was great.
All right, hey, look, chapter 24. Can we just all agree that Snape is terrible?
Yes,
let's just go there.
Let's go. We could definitely. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. When the squad leaves, Harry tells them that he already knew, but he was sworn to secrecy by Dumbledore, and then he reveals that Bellatrix is the one that tortured them into insanity. So that's how the chapter ends, which is just a great, super optimistic chapter. So now we get into chapter 24, Occlumency. So Sirius tells everyone the creature was found in the attic. Harry is off-put by the fact that Creature seems to be in a better mood after being found. He doesn't like this, which is a very good hunch by Harry. He doesn't want to go back to school because of Umbridge and homework and no Quidditch and Dumbledore not really being around or talking to Harry. Basically, Dumbledore's army is the only thing that makes Harry want to go back to school. He hates literally everything else.
Same. Didn't we all had this winter breaks where we just didn't want to go back to work?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sorry, we all had winter breaks where we just didn't want to go back to school. Like, I just want to see my friends and go to rehearsal, and that's it.
Yep. So
calculus is stupid.
What happens next is Snape comes to the headquarters, and he wants a word with Harry, which is terrifying. He says that he is there on Dumbledore's request, and he also throws shade at Sirius for having a limited role in the Order of the Phoenix while doing so, because that was very necessary, Snape.
Yeah, let's watch 2 grown men snip at each other for half a chapter.
Pretty much what happens. Snape says that Dumbledore wants Harry to study Occlumency, which is the study of defending the mind from external penetration. Harry will get private...
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is a thing now.
I wrote in my notes that Occlumency is physics B. I didn't really have a connecting thought there, but I guess I wrote it down. And it reminded me that I got a 1 on my physics AP test.
Nice.
So thanks. Oh, it's the cover. It's the cover that's coming up. That's what made me think about it. My favorite part about this is that Harry needs to tell people that he's
He's
taking remedial potions.
It's so good.
It's like, Harry, you're so bad at this thing, and we're so undercover. We're gonna use the fact that you cannot do potions as your cover.
It is the
it's
best
fine.
cover though, because he's so garbage at potions.
I mean, you're learning like how to hack, you're learning how to like hack into the school computer or something. And you have to tell people, it's like, no, man, I'm super bad at physics. I gotta do tutoring. Sorry. It's like, I'm trying to join the CIA and be part of like Black Mirror or like whatever Mr. Robot is. It's like, no, man, super bad at physics. Don't know how projectiles work. Yeah, I throw a ball from this point. There's no air resistance. I don't know.
The thing with Harry being bad at potions though is it really shouldn't be that hard. It's basically just instruction following. It's cooking. It's like put in this, then put in this, then put in that, stir. Like it really shouldn't be that hard. I think he's just bad at it because he hates Snape and he always spends his class time conniving against him or trying to overhear other conversations.
That's true. I mean, Snape is not Blue Apron. I'm sure it's a lot more difficult.
Oh man, Blue Apron, please sponsor the podcast. Anyway,
Blue Apron better than Snape.
a better way to Snape.
There it
Blue
is.
Apron.
There we go.
So Harry basically will get private lessons once a week. Can't tell anyone, especially Umbridge. Harry asks Snape, who's going to teach me this? And Snape says, me. And which I wrote, oh, this is so good. It's such like sitcom hijinks at this point. It's just a match made in heaven. And Snape gives him the classic, don't worry, I'm not happy about this either.
And they both cross their arms at the same time.
Exactly. He tells Harry if anyone asks, he has to say that he's taking remedial potions. And he says, quote, anyone has seen you in my class knows that you need it.
Got him. I love it. This is my favorite part of this chapter. It's like,
so
Harry,
good.
you're so bad.
I wrote in my notes, went, damn, I like Snape more now. Because I was very staunchly on team I hate Snape. But in this little interaction, he's fantastic. Absolute A+.
Snape gets some really great sick burns in this chapter.
He does.
And you just
really
got to
does.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
I wish that they had this chapter like word for word in the movie version. I want Alan. Oh my God.
Rickman.
Yes, thank you. I want Alan Rickman to just do all these sick burns. Like I need them.
It would be really fantastic. Snape goes on to talk shit about how Harry is just as arrogant as his father in front of Harry. And Sirius gets super pissed and draws his wand out on him. Snape draws his out as well. They start arguing back and forth. Sirius calls him Snivellus, which is not the best insult. Sirius then calls Snape Lucius's lapdog, and Snape says, speaking of dogs, you know he recognized you, which, pretty solid point brought up by Sirius. Harry has to literally jump in between them to get them to stop arguing. These are grown men.
Teenagers.
They are grown men.
Especially when you realize just like how deadly wands are. It's like they might as well just
They're
have
guns.
out. They're guns.
They are guns.
They're guns that have a flashlight on the end.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when Harry had that scene earlier in this book where he like got Dudley down the dark alleyway and kind of shoved him against the wall and put his wand to him, it's like it's a gun.
Yeah, that's a knife. Yeah, it could be a knife.
It could be all of the things. It also can, make ropes come out of it or make you vomit slugs forever. It can do a whole lot of things.
Nope. I don't like it.
So let's see.
Nope.
While this is all going down, Mr. Weasley walks in the front door and says that he's cured. Snape leaves, whatever. Sirius kind of goes off in a huff. And throughout the whole dinner, he's trying to act like he's not sad. But he is clearly bothered by what Snape said.
Right.
Harry wanted to talk to Sirius, but he just couldn't find the right time to do it. He wanted to try to find a time where he could be like, hey, look, don't let Snape get to you, blah, blah, blah. You're not a coward. I know this is out of your hands. But he never really finds the right moment to say it. Harry goes on to tell the squad about the Occlumency thing. Hermione understands Dumbledore wanting to get rid of Harry's nightmare. And Ron says, hell, I'd rather have the nightmares. Which... Classic Ron.
Good sick burn. Great. Got him. Remedial potions, everybody. I still I don't remember if this happens later in the book. I think it does come up later where Ron like piles on to everyone being like, "Oh, Harry, you're so bad at potions," and Ron's like, "Yeah, man, you can't tell like your salt from like your slugs." And he doesn't actually say that, but I imagine that in my head.
Yeah.
And, like Ron needs to cover up, and then later Ron's like, "Oh man, I was just like trying to get everyone to believe the lie." He's like, "No," but he just says a lot of mean things about Harry not being able to do potions.
Classic. They're about to head back to school. Harry's sad about it, still doesn't get the opportunity to say something to Sirius because he's afraid that Sirius is going to do something rash since Snape has called him a coward. He gives Harry a package that will allow Harry to let him know if Snape is pulling any shenanigans. Sirius says, don't open it. And Harry, internally, narrator Harry says, I'm not planning on opening this ever. Like, I'm not going to use this. This is a bad idea, whatever it is. I like that, thanks to Hermione, Harry and Ron have completely turned on Sirius and they just don't trust anything he says. Anytime Sirius is like, you should do this, they're like, let's do the opposite of that. We can't trust this man.
Listen, when you have one book devoted to why this guy might not be reliable, I feel like character development says you have to not trust him in the future.
So Tonks is taking the kids to school, and they're using the night bus, which is described as violently purple. The second time that the bus has been described as violently purple, the third time that an object in the book series has been called violently purple. Why is purple always violent? Is it because it's violet and it's like close? I don't know. JK really likes saying the phrase violently purple, which I've never seen something so purple that it seems like it's going to attack me, but apparently that's what the night bus looks like.
Oh, I love this. I have something later about JK Rowling's word choice, and we're going to get to it.
Good.
We'll see.
It's good. Is it as bad as when she kept using the word ejaculate to mean emit? Because that was a
similar.
fun...
This is actually similar to that.
Okay,
we're going to get to it.
Oh, man. Rather than having beds this time, the night bus now has various chairs since it's the daytime. Stan, our good old friend, says that he thinks the prophet has been unfair to Harry, so that's nice of him.
Oh, wait. I wrote something down.
Go.
When we were getting the speech, another reason why this series is so British, we were getting to the speech from from Stan the driver, and I just wrote down, we get it. He's low class. He speaks like this. Like, how cockney can you make his voice? Like, we understand he's a bus driver.
Lots of apostrophes.
We get, okay, he's a bus driver. He drops all of his consonants. Okay, fine.
Oh, man. Also, second time we see the night bus, second time there's not a detached Jamaican head like there was in the movie. Who in the writer's room pitched that, and why did they say yes? Someone's like, here's an idea. What if we put a mummified Jamaican head dangling from the rearview mirror? And then everyone was like, yes, that's what we should do.
I mean, have you ever been on a megabus?
No.
The first thing that I saw, like when I was rereading this about the night bus, I'm like, oh, this could be the megabus from New York to Boston.
Where it's just kind of sketchy and cheap.
It's so sketchy, super cheap. Like,
stops way too often.
Yeah. I mean, there are some buses, like people have brought like livestock onto the bus, like chickens.
Oh, wow.
They just have like tons of food. It's like insane.
Yeah, I've just never lived in an area where megabuses are good to take. Like, they're much better in the Northeast, but when you live in Texas and the major cities are 4-hour drives apart, taking a megabus takes the entirety of the day. So it's just not a good option.
Good point. But yeah, totally believable. I'm totally with this. I'm like, man, if I got one seat that turned into a bed, I'd be totally into that.
So they finally get to Hogwarts, but before they leave, Tonks says to Harry, look, I know you hate Snape, but he's really good at Occlumency, so just go along with it. When they get back to school, all the people from the DA are asking when the next meeting is. Harry says, I'll let you know in the usual way with the coin, but not tonight because I have remedial potions. To which Zachariah says, you take remedial potions? Like the prick that he is. And as he walks away, Ron points his wand at him and he asks Harry, should I jinx him? I still got a clear shot on him because Ron is a quality bro. He's such a good friend.
I know. I still wanted the whole dog pile where everyone's like, oh, man, you suck at potions. And everyone's like, oh, sick burn. I don't know. That's just what I wanted.
It would have been great. Cho Chang comes up, says hi to Harry. Hermione pulls an amazing wingman move, finds an excuse for Ron and her to leave and go to the library. Cho then pretty much heavy-handedly forces Harry to ask her out on a Valentine's date with the classic like, oh, the next Hogsmeade trip is coming up. I'm not going with anyone. it happens to be on Valentine's Day.
Oh my god.
Are you going with anyone, Harry? And he's like, oh, yeah, it is. No, I'm not going. See you later, Cho. And then she walks down the hallway. And then he's like, oh, yeah, right. And runs after her. And then he's like, do you want to go to Hogsmeade with me? Because Harry's the dumbest person on earth.
Yep.
But also, Cho Chang, take some time to heal. It hasn't even been a year yet.
Oh.
I don't like this. I don't like her.
Oh my god, there's so much wrapped up in this. Let's focus on the positives and how good J.K. Rowling is at explaining how teenage boys' brains work.
Oh my god, when she gets later on in the hand-holding thing, it's 100% spot on. I've been there a million times.
Like, I've done this because you never do it. It's like when you're in front of you, and then you always do the thing where you're like, hey, wait, here's the thing I should say. And like when something clunked into place in your brain, I'm like, yes, I wrote that poem. Like, I got you.
So later on, Harry has to go to Snape's office for his first lesson. He notices that Snape has a pensive in his room. I don't know if Snape has his own pensive or if he's borrowing Dumbledore's pensive. They don't really clear it up. So I don't know if they clarify. I don't know if he's like taking his thoughts out and putting them into Dumbledore's pensive so that Dumbledore can like later watch Snape's memories to see how it went, or if Snape just has his own pensive.
Oh my god.
I don't know if either thing is explained, but I feel like both work. I don't know.
I don't like that. It feels unsanitary to me.
Yeah, to put your
it like feels like a personal property.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have anywhere else to go to that. It
No,
just
yeah,
really
it's weird. I don't know if
uncomfortable.
I was just confused because like Harry is confused by the sight of the pensive, and I didn't know if pensives are common things. So I guess we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I guess they're rare if you can take your thoughts and put them in there. That seems like a magic item if I ever saw one. Like, you can't just buy that at the 5 and Galleon. It's not the 5 and dime, it's the 5 and Galleon.
Yes, we got the joke.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure because it was very bad.
Oh, man. So Harry asks Snape why Dumbledore set this up. Snape says it's because Voldemort is very good at legilimency, which is extracting feelings and memories from another person's mind. Harry screams out loud, he can read minds? And Snape corrects him that mind reading is a silly muggle construct. The mind is far too complex for that. He goes on to describe what legilimency is, and then Harry's like, pretty sure he just described mind control. Which is great.
This is a very good description of occlumency, which we didn't get in the kitchen earlier in the chapter.
Yes. Yes.
And I also didn't realize how slow this book was. I guess it's just been a really long time, and I would tear through it. But it's like he needs to like get like walked through every point of it. Is like he needs to digest the word, and now he has to like digest the definition, and then he's gonna look at it on flashcards later, and then he's gonna get tested, and only then will he actually be able to like move on and properly like do the thing he has to do.
Yeah. Snape provides an example saying that it's not necessarily mind control, but it's like you can understand the workings of someone else's mind. Snape cites the example that Voldemort can always tell when someone is lying to him. So he doesn't really describe it much further, but that's a thing that he can do. I don't know.
Yeah, he rolled really high on his insight check. That was my D&D reference, and Schubes, you just got to get on my level.
There it is. I was waiting for it. You made 40 minutes without one. That's impressive.
I'm trying to get to you. It's like our levels of nerdery need to like be equal.
Yeah.
His insight. Yeah, he has really high insight check.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I mean, I've still never played Dungeons and Dragons, which make you really sad. But there is an improv game. Hey, hold on. I do improv comedy. There's an improv game we played called D&D in the Life, where you're doing a normal scene, and then at any point you put your hand on your head and you turn to someone who's an off person with a 20-sided die that's the dungeon master, and you say, Dungeon Master, roll to see whatever. So you'd be like, roll to see how well I open this door. And if you get a 1, you like walk into it. It's my favorite improv short form game to play, but I still need to get on some real D&D action.
Well, I have this long form improv game that you could play. It's called Dungeons and Dragons, a game published by Wizards of the Coast LLC.
I want to do it. I just haven't had friends putting together a game. I've been too busy doing shit like Pandemic Legacy, which is dope sauce.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Hey, we'll do it at PodCon. Maybe we'll do something or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, PodCon. People come through. Oh, wait, this is going to post after PodCon. Oh my God, PodCon was so good.
Oh, I loved it.
I can't believe there were 50,000 people at the Potterless /join the party meetup. What?
And they were just like, oh man, that future episode where you guys recorded it and that one before when you were on Spirits talking about sports. I loved it. Favorite episode of all podcasts.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hijack the Spirits meetup. It's going to be so good. Okay, anyway.
What up? We're your favorite guests.
So Harry is safe mainly when he's within Hogwarts because there's a bunch of old charms and stuff. But Voldemort is Voldemort, so who's to say that he can't, penetrate that? However, Harry's scar bonds the two, and Harry's mind is susceptible to Voldemort's attacks when he's relaxed, aka sleeping. Voldemort currently has no idea that Harry can see into his thoughts until the snake thing. Snape explains that Harry saw the snake's vision because Voldemort was possessing the snake at the same time, and then Voldemort realized what was going on. So now that Voldemort knows that Harry can see into his stuff, Dumbledore's fear is that Voldemort's going to try to do the reverse and see into Harry's thoughts, hence Occlumency lessons.
Yeah, I mean, you can explain whatever you want when you're making up magic. I don't even question the veracity of this stuff. I'm like, all right, I need this for the plot to go forward. Like, all right, now this is what it is. Like, okay.
Yep.
I'm not cynical. It's just like you have to accept in like any level of fantasy, you just need to accept that like this is what it is. And like, okay, I need this because it's the universe I'm living in. Like, all right, thanks, Joe.
Yep, gotta move that plot along. Harry asks Snape how they know that Voldemort knows, and he keeps dodging the question, so obviously this is gonna come up later. They're going on to the actual lessons of doing Occlumency, and Snape says that Harry's ability to fight off the Imperius Curse is a good start. He says that for the very first thing, Snape's just going to try to take over his mind, and Harry should just try to defend himself in any way that he sees fit. So Snape does...
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a very safe practice, but Snape does Legilimens, and Harry's life basically flashes before his eyes.
Why does all of the most dangerous magic is like, hey, let's learn by doing? Like, can I read it in a book first? Can I see a slideshow? Can you make a PowerPoint for me before you come into my mind, sir? Like, all right, okay. Here, have a Bogart. You're fucked.
Jumping right into it.
Every time.
Not a lot of safety at Hogwarts. Not a lot of safety. So there's all these memories flashing before Harry's eyes, and he's like fine with what's going on. But then there's a memory of Cho Chang walking down a hallway, and he's like, no, this is the last straw. I am not letting Snape see this. So he finally breaks free, and he finds himself on the ground, just facing towards the ceiling.
You know how school works. You know, school, when you learn and you end up on the ground.
Only in the good lessons. Snape asks Harry if he meant to produce a stinging hex. Harry says no. So can Harry just cast spells subconsciously? I don't know how that happened. Snape then says that Harry let him get too far. Well, obviously, Snape, he saw a bunch of the memories. Like, of course he didn't do a good job. Harry asks if Snape saw everything. He says he just saw flashes because Harry is still concerned that Snape might know that Harry has a crush on a girl. Because heaven forbid, Harry thinks that someone who's described as one of the prettiest girls in school, heaven forbid, Snape knows that Harry also thinks she's pretty. Ugh. Ridiculous.
Okay, you're diving into the head of a teenage boy, right? And you see the girl he has a crush on. What? That could be anything that comes next in that memory. It could be any something that you don't want, like your dad's friend to see when he's plunging into your brain. You don't want your teacher to see whatever happens next in that dream.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the first thing I saw. I'm like, adult, please don't come into my brain any farther.
Yeah, definitely not good.
No, never good.
Could have been really bad. So, yeah, this whole lesson doesn't seem good where Dumbledore just gives him the okay. Yeah, just see every memory Harry's ever done ever. That's totally fine and safe. So, Snape tells Harry to close his eyes, clear his mind. It's round 2. Same thing. Memories, falls to his knees, screaming, doesn't do well. Snape says that Harry's angst makes him an easy target, which is incredible. He has this amazing quote where he says, fools who wear their hearts on their sleeves wallow in sad memories and allow themselves to be provoked so easily. Weak people stand no chance against his powers. He's basically J.K. Simmons from Whiplash at this point, where he just keeps telling Harry that he's bad, and he's like making him more angry. You're too angry, like yelling at him for being angry, which is making Harry more angry. And the funny thing is, though, that it kind of works because they do round 3 and Snape has to stop halfway through because you get this corridor memory, and Snape's like, whoa, 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 what the hell is this? Harry realizes it's the dream that he's been having for months, but he finally puts that together with the memory of what it originally was from, and it's from when him and Mr. Weasley were walking through the halls of the Ministry of Magic on the way to his trial. So you find out that the corridor leads to the Department of Mysteries, and Mr. Weasley was there when he was attacked. Harry asks Snape what's in the Department of Mysteries. Snape, unnerved, asks why. Harry says because that corridor has been in his dreams for months, Voldemort must want something from there. But then Snape dodges telling Harry what's in that department, which again means it's very important and will come up later.
Yep. Thanks, signposting. I appreciate it.
The lesson ends. Snape says, empty your mind every night before sleep.
You know.
Just clear your mind.
You know, things that you tell children. Just stop thinking. Yeah. Before you go to sleep, don't think about anything and don't be anxious and just sleep. Just sleep.
Turn your brain off.
You know how when people tell you, like, hey, don't worry about this thing, just stop worrying.
Yeah.
Totally works all the time.
Or like when you're in the heat of an argument and someone says, calm down, you definitely usually get a lot calmer after someone says that to you. Never
Absolutely.
get more upset.
Just like chill out. Just chill out, man. Why are you so mad? Is the Dark Lord penetrating your brain? Chill out.
So it says then Harry packs his books in his backpack and leaves. And this is the first time I at least remember that he has a backpack. And in the movies, I don't think they ever have backpacks. I think they just like carry books in their hands. I guess backpacks weren't wizardy enough to be in the movies.
Oh, yeah. All I really wanted in the movies was like one kid with a rolling backpack who had to go down the shifting stairs.
Like Neville would totally be the rolling backpack kid.
Oh, no.
Neville would have a rolling backpack, and then Ron would have like a bright teal JanSport with a bunch of like patches on it and stuff.
Yeah. And it says Ron instead of, because he only has a 3-letter name, so he did Ron instead of his initials.
Oh, because people would do their initials right. I remember that. I never did that. I always just got the plain one.
Oh, Schubes. You gotta spring the $5 for the personalization.
I don't know. MJS is not like cool looking initials. It's not like it spelled a word. It's not like my initials were cat or something.
What?
Or dad.
Why is it the first thing you want is cat?
Hey, if your initials are cat, it's cool.
Your definitions of cool. I don't know, man.
Anytime I'm playing NBA Jam in an arcade, I always make my initials dad, and I make my birthday February 31st. It's always my go-to.
That's very good. In arcades, I do EEE. So if someone's looking at it, they're like, crush you in Galaga. Got him.
Did you just say Galaga as Galaga?
Oh my God, yes.
It's Galaga, right? Galaga?
It is Galaga. My dad grew up in the Midwest, and that's how they said it out there.
Did they play Pac-Man and Asteroids?
Schubes, I have a tattoo of Galaga on my body.
No, you have a tattoo
out.
of Galaga on your body.
Oh my God. I'm going to beat you at NBA Jam when I see you next, just you know. Oh man, this is after PodCon, and Eric crushed Schubes at NBA Jam.
I will rain threes from half court with John Stockton, and you will bow before me.
Oh, good. Sports. That's what everyone loves about Potterless. Good.
Yeah, Quidditch is the best part of the books. Harry goes to the library, joins up with the squad. His scar hurts like crazy, tells them everything that happened. Ron says, so you're saying that the weapon he's after is in the Ministry? And Harry confirms. Hermione says, of course, because she realizes that this is probably what Sturgis Podmore had been trying to break into. And I'm really glad that this is what happened, because I had in my notes from like 4 episodes ago, because it just never came up, where I just wrote Sturgis Podmore and the snake are somehow linked, and it just never came into play, and now it finally does.
Great job, Schubes.
Well, it was just me noting the red herrings. You know, I do really well with those, just like how Ludo Bagman was the bad guy in the 4th book.
Nope. Sorry.
Not even in the movie. Ron asks why he'd break in if he's on our side, and Hermione says, I don't know. So again, we'll find out a couple chapters later. Harry asks Ron if his dad ever mentioned it. Ron knows that they call people in that part of the Ministry unspeakables because no one knows what they do. So that's helpful.
Yeah, you know, jobs where you have cool nicknames.
They don't, not the Ministry.
You know, government jobs where you have cool nicknames.
So, I mean, I guess it's like they're trying to be the CIA or something, but I don't know.
Well, I wonder if that comes up later.
Like, this is just like a lame version of the Untouchables, right? Because the Untouchables were like the secret department in the cops. So I guess they're the Unspeakables. I wonder if J.K. Rowling had to pay for the clear plagiarization of the name. But Hermione says that the weapon being there makes sense because it's top secret. Then they go up to the Gryffindor common room where Fred and George are selling headless hats. I'm already sold before they're described. They are hats that make your head and the hat disappear, so you just look like the Headless Horseman. Hermione then is actually impressed by the magic and tries to reason to herself out loud how they made it work. Harry then leaves, walks to his room. His head is in crushing pain, and he can hear a maniacal laughter, and he feels extremely positive emotions. Harry comes to, realizing that he's literally doing this laughing that he's hearing, and Ron is bent over him, asking what happened. Harry says he's not sure, but Voldemort is very happy. Quote, something that he's been hoping for. And that is the end of chapter 24, and also the end of this first part of our Potterless episode, Eric. But don't worry, you'll be back on in 5 minutes after we stop recording and start recording again. But how do you feel about these 2 chapters of your least favorite book in the series?
These 2 chapters are insane. So much just happened. We
So
spent so
many
much
things.
time talking about all of this shit. Like, we have Christmas. We, like, have an emotional scene in a mental institution for a little bit. Like, we're learning about what occlumency is. We have a weird interaction with the teacher. Like, we have another red herring. There's just too much.
There is
and I
quite
have
a
so
bit.
much to say.
Well, you'll have more to say on the next episode. But until then, listeners, thank you so much for listening. If you want to find Eric, you can go to Join the Party. You want to pitch your little podcast there, bud?
Sure. I am the dungeon master / host / producer of Join the Party, an inclusive. Yeah, I'm a big fucking nerd on your
Me
Potter
too.
on your Harry Potter podcast, Schubes. Join the Party is an inclusive, character-driven 5e real play Dungeons and Dragons podcast, but also it's really fun and awesome to listen to. And we have gargoyles and queer crushes and ghost whales and all of this stuff. So if you like what I'm talking about and you think that I'm a little bit funny and a little bit interesting and can come up with weird stuff at the top of my head, and you like listening to Amanda McLaughlin from Spirits Talk, then you guys should come check out Join the Party.
Yeah, I will say, as someone that has never played Dungeons and Dragons, it's still a good listen. You don't have to enjoy Dungeons and Dragons to enjoy the podcast. And if you don't understand it, the first couple episodes kind of explain how everything works. So it's
that's
great.
right. Yep, that first episode, the first 2 episodes, we have a beginner's track where we teach you how to play D&D while you listen.
It really helped because I had no idea, except for that there's a big die with lots of numbers. But anyway, thank you so much, Eric, for being a part of this, listeners. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, as they say in Hogwarts, every single day, just before they eat lunch, wizard on!
Oh my God. Right before they open Christmas presents, wizard on.
And then it's a bunch of wizard on
And
shirts.
then the camera pans back and it's snowing, and then Santa shows up and he also says wizard on.
Merry Christmas to all and to all. Wizard on. Potterless was created by Mike Schubert. It is hosted by Mike Schubert. It is edited by Mike Schubert. It is produced by Mike Schubert, as well as Leanne Davis, Andreas Ozelby, Vicky Garcia, Aaron Johnson, Erica and Calvin Bauer, Michael Vanderslice, Sadie Bear, Emily Whiffen, Chandra Cruz, Jesse Horgan, Maggie Zobazek, Natalie Klobuchar, Deborah Wilkes, Daisy Kjartanstadter, Klaus Serlobu, Michael Buch, Sean Jones, Alexander Stark, Rebecca Adamek, and Maria Arroyo. Web design by Kelly Beckman, and the music is by Bettina Campamanes. If you want to learn more about the podcast, head to potterlesspodcast.com. You can find us on any social media. Just search Potterless Podcast. And we're on all of your preferred podcasting apps, including Spotify. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, Wizard on!